Hello, all you football fans, and welcome back to the Shots on Target podcast. This is part four and the final part of our World Cup recap. My name is Phil, joined by my man Jakey.
What's good, guys?
And obviously, as I said, in this final part, we will be talking about the greatest World Cup final ever, I think it's safe to say.
Well, 100%. I don't think there's anything controversial about that statement.
It was insane for sure, but we will be covering all of that. But just before we do that, I just want to say if you guys are on Twitter, make sure to follow us at Shots on Target, link down in the description below. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the
Where,
greatest World Cup final ever, Jakey.
yeah, where do we really start?
Minute one, I guess.
Well, minute one. Well, really, after minute one up until about minute 80 was just complete dominance.
True.
I think for a large period of the game, France looked unsettled. They looked tired, and they
Yeah,
just didn't really look like they had a clue. You
yeah,
know, out of the team that started, I think starting Upamecano in that final was a complete mistake. He was average all tournament. Didn't really look showed up at the back. Um, I think if they were going to start at two, I think it had to be Kanate and Varane.
yeah. Konate had an incredible semi-final against
Mhm.
Morocco.
And ultimately, they favoured Upamecano over Kanate, and really came back to bite them because I thought he was like the rest of the tournament. I thought he was poor.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think for the first 80 minutes, like you say, Argentina absolutely dominated. I think Alexis McAllister was unbelievable in that World Cup final. He absolutely controlled that midfield. It was just the pace Argentina played at. Like they brought back in Di Maria, and Di Maria just looked like he had something up his arse that game. He was just there to prove a point.
Di Maria looked like he had played every minute of the tournament but didn't look tired. And that was the first game he started.
Yeah, literally. Like it was, to be fair, a stroke of genius from
Scaloni.
Scaloni.
Yeah.
Because um, what it did was it not only freed up the attacking players like Messi, but it freed up the midfield as well because Di Maria is playing so far like out wide on the touchline. It gave Argentina that space. They sort of just split France, and France could not get anywhere near them. They couldn't lay a glove on Argentina for the first 80 minutes. As I say, Enzo Fernandez, Alexis McAllister ran that midfield. Um, and then you had the likes of Alvarez that was causing problems all game long. You had, as you say, Di Maria. You had the goat Lionel Messi doing unbelievable things, and they just looked assured, and it looked like it was only going one way.
Yeah.
Genuinely could not see a route back for France.
I mean, what after 36 minutes, the game looked dead and buried, and it just looked like Argentina were going to go on and score three, four, maybe even five.
It did. I remember watching like when the halftime whistle went, and those France players just looked absolutely,
Gone.
yeah, dismayed. Literally, their heads were down. But apparently, Kylian Mbappe delivered one hell of a halftime speech um, to those France players. So fair play to him. Um, Obviously, people may have seen the clips. It's obviously all in French, so we can't actually understand what he's saying. But there's been some translations. There's been some actually different translations that I've read. So God knows what he actually said. You'd have to ask Killian himself.
Mm.
But apparently, and to be fair, it didn't actually work because again, for the next 25 minutes,
They looked average.
it was still all Argentina.
I
I
think.
think
Oh no, gone.
I was going to say, I think for me, Deschamps showed why he is a top class manager though, because the changes he made changed the game.
Yeah.
Like he brought on where we've talked about Southgate making the wrong substitutions against France. He made all the right ones in that World Cup final.
Yeah, definitely.
Like he even brought on a couple of young kids that don't have too much international experience. He was taking off the likes of Giroud, where you've got a player that if you put the right ball in, he's gonna and he connects to it, you're probably gonna get a goal. And he's going to be a threat. Do you know what I mean? And he had to make those big decisions in the biggest game, and they were all just fantastic.
I think the only bit of undoing would be that in the end, 121st minute chance from Muani, which he hit straight at Martinez.
Yep.
But I think really Argentina's undoing of how well they played in the first half was how guns blazing they went into the second. They became leggy. They were tired because they had put so much effort trying to get that lead and make it seem unattainable for France to come back. They opened themselves up when through all the running they had to do. Like,
I think so, but I think when you play a certain way for so long, like they played that way pretty much the whole tournament, and
yeah.
you've got those players like Alexis McAllister, Enzo Fernandez, Alvarez, etc., that are just want to run. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't even say they looked leggy. I don't think that's the reason why France came back into it. I think one was because of the incredible player they have in Kylian Mbappe.
Oh yeah, 100%.
When you've got Kylian Mbappe, you've always got a chance. And as I say, the subs Deschamps made, he didn't just make substitutions, he also changed the formation France were playing in. And it worked. They went two up top, and they basically pulled Mbappe from out wide to more central, and they started creating chances. And obviously, they get a stroke of luck with the first goal. I think it took a little deflection that ended up at the back of the net, which was Mbappe's
First goal
first
was a
goal.
penalty.
Sorry, it was the second goal that was deflection, weren't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, second goal was deflection. Yeah, the first goal was a penalty. Correct decision. There's not much to talk about that.
Silly tackle from
Yeah,
Otamendi.
Otamendi. Yeah,
Got
but
no need to do that.
that's what you're going to get from a player like Otamendi, though. He's always got one mistake in him, unfortunately.
He's
And
Argentina's Dejan Lovren.
I guess so. Yeah.
Ultimately, they've got a mistake in him. He had it at City. He had it. He's always had it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that then gives France a boost, and then I think 60, 90 seconds later, maybe
Genuine 60. I think it was 42 seconds in game.
something like that. Yeah,
France
but
scored the other end. Ball falls to Mbappe. The pass. I can't mind who played the pass over to Mbappe, but
I'm
it
sure it was
was.
Griezmann.
I think it might have been Griezmann. Yeah, it was inch perfect.
Yeah, it was.
It was such a delicate, delicately weighted pass. It lands at his feet, and most people, I think even was it McCoist? Ali McCoist was commentating.
Depends on where you were watching, to be honest.
I think it was on ITV, so it might have been Ali McCoist. But he even said he thought he's going to take the ball down, try to get closer to goal. No, he lets off a venomous shot first time. It gets past the hand of Martinez, and after 60 seconds, they're drawn level. 81 minutes in game after 80 minutes of looking average.
It was honestly insane because, as you say, the pass was fantastic, but even at that point, Mbappe still had so much to do. I think it's just the fact that he hits it first time, it just catches Martinez out. When you have a striker that's that prolific and can hit as just a strike first time and can get it on target, you'll always catch a keeper out because they're coming out, they're not set.
Yeah.
But he still had so much to do, Mbappe, and it's just absolutely incredible. I think the whole bloody world just went mad at that point. Like, oh my God, France have done this. Like, what the hell is going on? And at that point, fair play to Argentina. They could have crumbled. They could have easily crumbled. But obviously, we get to extra time at 2-2. And for me, this is where the game settled down, but it was a bit more end to end. France looked a bit more dangerous.
It was a very cagey affair after the full-time whistle.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, Argentina still created more chances. And then you've got Argentina retaking the lead through who scored the third goal?
Messi.
Oh, of course it was. Yeah, yeah. Of course it was. Oh, yeah, because it was like a tap in, weren't it?
Yeah.
It was like, but yeah, Argentina taking the lead, and at that point, everyone's looking at it going, well, Argentina have weathered the storm and they've got their foot over the line here. But once again, France
Football's a
France don't
very
kick them up.
cruel game.
It is. It is.
France
It
go up the
is.
other end and get a penalty in the 118th minute.
Absolutely incredible scenes that.
And
And
I'll
again,
tell you what, the composure Mbappe has to take a second and score it
well, yeah,
is phenomenal.
we spoke in the previous episode, obviously, when we were talking about England, about players taking two penalties, and sometimes it can go your way, sometimes it can't. I think it's balls just to step up and take a second penalty.
Oh, 100%.
But to obviously score it is
Another thing.
unbelievable.
Mhm.
But again, it comes back to my point though I said about Harry Kane. No one else would have wanted Mbappe in that situation. Even if he'd have missed, people would have said, well, Mbappe still, there was no one else should have took that penalty for France if he'd, even if he'd have missed it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just comes down to just a fantastic player in Kylian Mbappe. I mean,
Yeah.
he scored a hat trick in a World Cup final. What more can you say about a player like that? He
I
scored a
mean,
hat trick
scored
in a World
4
Cup
if you
final.
count the penalty in the penalty shootout.
If you
It's,
count, yeah, I suppose so. No one does though, but
yeah, no, it does, but still, it's like you've put your team in arguably the best position possible, and to some extent, he has to feel let down by them players. Obviously, you can take nothing away from Martinez
yeah,
in the penalty shootout. The mind games to put off Tchouaméni, the saves that he pulled off throughout the game, that last minute save against Mouani to send it to penalties, like
that for me, that's the biggest moment, and it's not spoke about enough. That save literally won Argentina the World Cup
oh,
because
100%.
it was unbelievable. I remember watching it in real time, and I was like, "Oh my god, France have done this! They're in!" Like, and it was the young kid, and I thought, "Oh my god, the young kid's going to win the World Cup for France!"
And he
And
snatched it.
what a save! I don't think he even snatched it though. I think it was just a fantastic save.
Mm.
Like, people will say he could have took it round him, he could have dinked him. That's all in hindsight. At the end of the day, if that ball goes in the back of the net, I think what a finish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for me, like, you can tell when someone absolutely snatches at a shot, and he didn't completely snatch it for me. I think he was just trying to arrow it into the bottom corner, and Martinez just made a fantastic save. And for me, he was their hero in extra time, Martinez, because France had two or three opportunities to score,
Yeah.
and Martinez came up clutch every single time.
I think at that point when that shot is saved, I think most people in their mind was like, yeah, this is Argentina's night. You know, they've
I
weathered the
mean,
storm. They had like it just after that, like after the last penalty, nothing seemed to want to go in because France did have chances after that penalty as well.
yeah,
I think they had a few,
yeah, they had a couple.
but it
I
just
don't, I don't think it's. I think, yeah, I get what you're saying about like it was Argentina's moment. Obviously, it turned out to be that way, but penalties are cruel.
mm,
Like, I'm probably not the only one that was watching that shootout going, I've got no idea how all this is going to go. Like, this is two teams with some of the best footballers in the world, some of the best like hitters of a ball in the world. Do you know what I mean? And the penalties were very good as well. Like,
oh yeah,
Martinez is he's just something else. He's just got
absolute
away.
mind games.
Absolute mind games goalkeeper. Like, I would not want to take a penalty against Martinez because he will just put you off. He just has that about him. He's just very good at what he does. He's a very good shot stopper. I don't think he's like a world class goalkeeper. In terms of like some of the goalkeepers you see, like your Courtois, your Alisson, etc.
Mm,
Um, you wouldn't want him in your sticks in those. You would want him in those sticks in those big moments, but he's also prone to making mistakes as well. As is any keeper though, at the end of the day. But yeah, when it comes to the shootout though, I had no idea how that was going to go, and it was just insane. But
mm.
again, Argentina though made the right decision. There's something I want to point out that we didn't speak about in the Brazil's penalties was Neymar was chosen to go fifth,
Yeah,
and
I've
for me
never understood that.
that is the biggest mistake ever. And Argentina did it perfectly. I think Messi did he step up first or second? It was one of the
Messi
two.
and Mbappe were the both first penalty takers for their country.
Yes, yeah. I remember. Yeah, yeah. And that's exactly how you want to start off the shootout on a high. You do not want someone you don't not as such that you don't want to take a penalty because obviously everyone steps up for a reason, but there are obviously some people that you think, right, he's stepping up, this is in, no
Yeah.
worries whatsoever. I mean, even the best players in the world miss penalties. Mbappe's missed them, Messi's missed them, Ronaldo's missed them, Kane's obviously missed them. Even the best players in the world miss penalties, but let's be honest, neither of them were missing in the World Cup final.
No, not a chance.
No chance in hell. But obviously, the penalties do happen, and Argentina do become world champions again for a third time. They finally have that third star on their badge.
So what was the last one? 85, was it?
80 something, yeah, 85, 80,
85, 86.
something like that, yeah. It's been a long time coming, and it's been a long time for Messi as well.
Obviously, you had the heartbreak of the 2014 World Cup against Germany.
Yeah, in extra time.
Obviously, you know, Argentina to go out to France in the 2018 World Cup, and you know it's one of them you'd never think it's going to happen, but he can sign off with the final piece of his collection.
Yeah,
He
absolutely,
he can safely
absolutely.
bow out of football as the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Just thinking back on Messi's career as a whole, because I think it needs to be said, like the guy has won everything. I mean, you look at his Barcelona days, the guy was untouchable for years. Won everything with Barcelona, Champions Leagues, La Ligas, you name it. He won the Copa America finally right before the World Cup, which I think that just gave Argentina that boost that they needed coming into this World Cup. Like, right, this is it. And yeah, just as a whole, fantastic for Lionel Messi. I mean,
There'll
the
never be another
conversation.
player like him.
No, definitely not. I mean, the conversation's been about for years: Ronaldo, Messi, Messi, Ronaldo, etc. I think that door has firmly been shut now, and Messi is on that pedestal, and Ronaldo's sitting looking up at him. I think there's no doubt for anyone. People will there'll still be Ronaldo fanatics that be like, oh well, Messi had better players around him, blah blah blah, etc. But I don't think there's any conversation that can be had that you could take seriously where you'd say Ronaldo is better than Messi.
They'll, like Peter Drury says, there'll always be those who argue and debate, but for the ones that truly know that Messi is the greatest of all time, he bows out the greatest of all time, and you know that debate is now put to bed.
Absolutely. And what a way to do it as well. Literally coming out before the World Cup and saying, this is my last World Cup, win or
Yeah.
lose. And then to go and win the whole thing, pick up best player of the tournament as well and lead your country to the... it's an incredible storyline, one that probably won't get written like this again.
Nah.
And it was just a pleasure to watch. Absolute pleasure. That's why we all love football, for moments like that. And we now look forward to 2026 in USA.
Yeah.
Obviously, for people that don't know, USA probably should have been hosting this tournament rather than Qatar. But obviously, the FIFA politics got involved, etc. But I'm actually looking forward to a World Cup in the USA. I think they're going to do it right. I think football. I'm going to say football, not soccer. I don't care if it is in the USA.
It's not getting called
Um,
soccer here.
no, absolutely no chance. But I think the reputation of it is growing even more in the USA now, with obviously the MLS, etc. USA bringing through some good players. And I just look forward to the next World Cup, and I pray England can actually get something done.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Absolutely. But that is going to do it, guys, for the entire World Cup recap. Thank you so much if you've watched all episodes from 1 to 4, from our predictions right up until our World Cup final recap. It's been an absolute blast doing it. I know it's been a while, so we've had to jog our memories as such, but we're going to make sure we're back on it properly from now on. And And yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. Remember, if you're on Twitter, to follow us at Shots on Target. Link down in the description below, as always. Make sure to subscribe, turn the notifications on, ring that bell, all that good stuff. And we will catch you in the next one, guys. Take it easy.
Peace.